Well, welcome to the October 21st meeting of the Revitalization Trust Fund. This is an open meeting and it's being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, such as the governor's order to suspend equipment, suspend the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, convening on Zoom, let me just go through meeting. Let me skip some of the stuff we don't need to do. Meeting business ground rules. The ground rules, I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of the members, inviting each by name to provide any comment or questions. Please hold until your name is called. Please remember to mute your phone or computer. Well, we don't want to do that. And speak clearly when you're in conversation. Chair will open the public meeting for comments. That's not relevant. That's basically it. We're good. So, first, let's go through and if all of you will basically sign in, essentially. Why don't we start with Carol?
Yeah. Carol DeLemos. Right. Anything?
I think that's it. Marcus?
Marcus Hughes, present.
All good, Chair, and Amy?
Amy Hilson, Economic Development Manager for the town of Needham. It looks like Mary Ruth is signing back on.
All right. There she is. Hey, Mary Ruth. Are you there?
She came up on.
Yeah. Well, and momentarily, Mary Ruth there.
Yes.
Why don't we, we'll get started while she's logging in. Number one was the New Year's Needham banner and the basic.
Hi, everybody.
There you are.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So, if you will, just state your name so that we have it on record. Mary Ruth? You there? Okay. All right, well, let me get started. Number one is that there is no Needham New Year's this year. So we will substitute the One World Together banner as we did last year. We've made application to the Needham Council for Arts and Culture grant. And Marcus, if you can give us an update on that one.
Yeah, we submitted, like I said in the last meeting, we submitted an application for the Needham Arts and Culture grant. Their deadline was October 15th, but they extended it to November 1st, which is great for us. So we were able to fine tune that application. And thanks for your comments, Paul. I submitted last night, and so the request was for $1,000 to fund that One World Together banner that's going to replace or be in lieu of the New Year's Eve banner. So that's on tech. And we should hear from them probably in the next month or two.
All righty. That's great. And thank you very much for doing that and leading the charge to get it. And now we'll keep our fingers crossed that they are able to allocate at least some funds to us so we can make up the gap in the $1,000 that we don't get from Needham Media. All right. The town decision on Needham lights. Basically, my conversation, and actually we'll let Amy probably has the inside scoop on this also, but I got a request from Miles to see if we could just modify the existing design to remove all the text from it, so it doesn't say Needham lights or have a URL at the bottom, and just have the image of the blue tree to fill up the banner, and then to use that to go up in at the 1st of December. So I'm in the process of doing that right now. So any other things to add into that, Amy?
Nope. I think you pretty much summed it up pretty well.
Okay. so no matter who's sponsoring what, we have a banner that will fit. It's basically what it is. The one question I had is, do you think people have any questions about whether it has, whether it should have had needhamma.gov at the bottom, or is there a reason to not want to do that, or does it matter at all? Just to tell people what to think.
Yeah, I'm not sure it matters. I think the intent was for it to be a seasonal banner to be festive around the holiday season. So I'm not sure it really matters.
Perfect. That answers the question, and I'll get her done. So
great.
Next, we have Sky Poetry Banner, which is a concept that we're working on right now. Basically, this is a replacement for where the Alley Raceman banner is right now on Eaton Square Plaza, and we're building a prototype for it because it's going to be a little bit different in how it's done. I wanted to see if we could experiment with being able to have something that would cause a banner to be more interactive. And, other than putting up a banner that is a flat panel screen, which of course we're not going to do, I thought, if we could do something that would integrate with a QR code in the banner, and that would allow people to be able to actually, just scan with their phone a QR code and then, bring up whatever the relevant video was or audio or whatever it happens to be, or take them directly to a website. That that would be an interesting thing to test. So a couple of things in terms of building it. Number one is that we wanted to do something that we thought, might have some entertainment value, some maybe just interest, unique interest to it. And the second was, in terms of technology, putting a QR code up on a banner, it's too far away for people to actually reach. And so they're not going to be able to scan it if it's just on the banner. However, I thought that if we were able to create a bracket that fit lower on the pole, that was about 4 inches square, that would just have the QR code that matches the one that's on the banner. And if we do it with what's called a dynamic QR code, which means that you can change the links that QR code goes to behind the scenes, as opposed to what's called a static or standard QR code, where the code is built into the image you see, and all it does is just that. But the other advantage of the QR code, dynamic QR code, is it actually will give us some stats in terms of how many people have actually scanned it. So that'll give us, more usable information as to whether this type of thing is something that people in the town, think is cool, or aren't interested. So the sky poetry idea is basically this. We thought about taking a piece of poetry, and the one we used as a reference was Two Roads by Robert Frost, and put it up on a banner in large enough type so that you can read it, and it would give you the first paragraph, first stanza, and underneath that it would say and then it would say watch the video, and it would show the image of the QR code, and then the QR code would be down lower in the 4-inch box so that you could just scan it, and then you would be taken right to the video, or to the page that contained the video. So the concept that we assembled for this was potentially for a tie-in with the library, because it seemed like a natural fit if the library were the ones that basically picked poetry, and that if they would host the video and the poem on their page, then a lot more people would be going to their website to be able to discover the other things that the library can do for them. So I floated a proposal to the library committee to consider it, and I'm sending off a copy of the concept prototype banner, which has the needhamlibrary.org/sky poetry link at the bottom for people to see. And we'll see if they're interested in basically, being a part of that program and sponsoring. And if not, we can look for other sources if they want to, or if the committee just thinks that it's, a silly idea, then we can just do something else. So, but it seemed like an interesting way to be able to test this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And and once I've got a prototype that should be done by the end of the week. So next week we could actually put the prototype up on the pole with the bracket to be able to scan and try it out, see how it looks, see if it works. So that's the sky poetry thing. I don't know whether you can see it here. This is the way that it looks. And obviously, shortly I'll be able to send you, a PDF version of it.
So the QR code would be lower down from where it would be hanging, where the banner would be hanging. Is that?
Yeah. It's about maybe waist or chest height on the pole, and it's 4 inches in diameter. So it's a large enough code so that, and you can walk up to the, very close to the pole and just literally hold your phone up in camera mode, and it'll pull up the link. It's a lot bigger than even the ones you see at restaurants. And it's they're mounting it on or printing it on an aluminum plate that will mount the bracket. So and they're actually taking the blue background of this and using that to wrap the sides of the bracket, so that the sides of the bracket will also look attractive. And they're assembling it. So we'll see. Basically, it uses just a stainless steel strap to attach to the pole, and we'll literally put it on and test it out. And as soon as we get a chance to do it, as soon as I have a day to do that, I'll let you all know. And if you're around the area or you have time to shoot over, you'll be able to see it. And if nothing else, I'll take pictures of it in place so that you can see it from that. But aside from all the details I've just given you about it, what do you think of the idea of having a rotating poem on those polls that could lead a link to a video of someone potentially reciting the poem. And there are a lot of people who have recited poems that are on YouTube videos and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like it. I think it'd be fun. I think that might get some buzz going too. I mean, that could be really fun. I like that.
What do you think, Martin?
I like it too. I think it's I agree with Mary Ruth. I think it's something different, and I think it would create a little bit of buzz and might even get a write up about it in the local paper about it. So I think it's a good idea. There's a potential for it to be used in many ways, I think.
Yeah, the thing about well, before I say anything more, so Carol, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm wondering where the poll would be.
Well, there are the 3 polls on Eaton Square Plaza, so it's only 3 polls.
Oh, the 3.
Yeah, but it's a place where the front pole, a lot of people walk by.
Yeah.
And the 2 poles that are back in the plaza are right near where people are sitting and eating. Now that we're using the outside plazas for outdoor dining. So potentially people who are sitting there at the tables would have, could just get up, walk near the pole, scan it, and then sit down and watch the video or, read the poem or whatever the interactive piece happens to be.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very interesting idea.
Amy?
Yeah, I think it's very unique and will definitely create some buzz. I like it.
Well, great. Well, we'll look forward to, once we have the prototype, we'll basically run it up the flagpole and see if it flies. I'll let you know.
Is it potential to link that once they scan the QR code and then they go to the video? Can they get linked to other videos too?
Yes. Well, here's the idea is to be able to have them linked to a page which has other poems and videos on it.
Yeah.
So the idea would be that even though this would be the first poem that would go up, that there could be potentially, as many as they wanted to put together poems on this page, on the library page, if that were the case, but on this page to be able to, have them read a whole variety of poems and watch the corresponding video.
Okay. Right, and also the video. Oh, sorry. I mean, the videos could be about what NCRTF is doing too.
My question. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, exactly. I was hoping someone would ask that. I think you're right. I agree with Marcus. We got to get something.
Yeah.
Got to be, recognized.
And so I would think that we would just have we could have a little section for the Revitalization Trust Fund on the same page, because this is based on being able to have a cooperative, relationship on doing this, and so I think it's a perfect idea to be able to have some of we go to this page and you have poems are the majority of the thing, and then we have maybe a sidebar section that tells about the Revitalization Trust Fund and shows those, and shows our video. So,
You could say something like, by the courtesy of Needham Revitalization Trust Fund.
Yeah, or sponsored in conjunction with.
Right.
Or as they do on the television, in partnership with the Ziegler Foundation. So, okay, well that's great. I'm writing up a follow-up piece now that we have something that we could show them, so that they could take it to their November meeting. and consider it. The initial piece I sent them, they looked at it, but they didn't have anything visual. And I know that it's very difficult for people to be able to imagine what something looks like just from a description. So that's why I, always try to be able to create something that, visually represents just exactly what it is that we're, trying to describe in the description part. So I'll be putting that together and sending that off in just a few days, probably early next week, to be able to give them the follow-up information. Ann McFate is retiring, and she's been my contact, for their banners for years. But we won't know. Amy probably knows, but she won't know either. But we don't know who the new person has. Somebody has been chosen, but they are not at liberty to be able to say until whatever the date is that they want to do it, which might be November 1st. So there will be a new person at the leadership level there, and I'll get to meet them, and we'll, follow up on that. And this is something that could go up at any time. It's only 3 banners, and as long as it's not too cold to work, that this could go up as soon as it was approved by the select board, providing they think it's a good So that's where we're at. Any other questions on that? Ready? Let's see. The newsletter. Well, one of the things that I'm sad to announce, but it's certainly understandable, is that Ashley has requested to step down from the committee. She wrote to me, and then I had an exit interview with her. And she basically, she's a litigation attorney, and she basically, has to travel or take care of clients sort of on the fly, which is part of the nature of what she does in the business. On top of that, she also has a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. And, she's been very conscious of wanting to be able to spend more time with them, and cutting back some of the other things that, even though she loves to do them, she knows that she only has so many hours in the day. And so she felt, this certainly the priorities were the work and the kids. And believe it or not, we actually came in third. So she's stepping down, but that gives us an opportunity for two new candidates for fund. And I know Amy will be following up on that. She's already corrected the website and done the things that she needs to do to be able to put those things in play. So we'll look, and if any of you have people that that you think might be good candidates for the fund, please, send them Amy's way, so we could have the interview process started and fill out our commitment. One of the things, we have basically two gaps right now in terms of work on the Revitalization Trust Fund. One is we're definitely looking for someone to be able to take over the newsletter portion of it, so we can get that in gear, because our intention was to be able to have the newsletter up and running as we go into the holiday season, so we could reach out to our email list and be able to start a communication series with them. And the second is basically the follow-up from Needham to the World on the next 2 candidates, and then to be able to pull together the information to be able to prepare for the profiles that would be in the future. Now we have more time on that because we already have 2 profiles completed for from Needham to the World. So if we change it over at the 6-month mark, we've got another one at the 6-month mark to be able to, to have it already, ready to go. So we just basically need to get the next 2 in line and get the profiles built as, over the course of the next few months. So I put this out to you. I don't know whether Marcus can hear us, but and then he's certainly been working with the grant things. But I ask those of you who are here and understand what it is we're trying to accomplish, if any of you would be interested in either one of those things. Certainly the newsletter.
Paul, would you send me the newsletter stuff?
Sure.
What it entails? So we don't mail it at all.
No, it's all in.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, it's basically, there's a program that's it's basically learning the program is what it is, and I know the program.
What is the program? Which one?
It's through a company I have a relationship with called Aweber.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar.
Yeah, and they're basically they have a system that allows email following. You can think of it sort of as another version of Constant Contact. It's a little more robust than that, what it can do, but that's essentially it.
Okay, so I do newsletters. I've done them for a number of different things. So my question is, so I do a lot of cutting and pasting into them, as which is, and then I pull it all together, pictures and whatever.
Yeah.
Where does the information for the newsletter come from?
Well,
is any of it, public domain stuff? I mean, what is in our, what do we want in a newsletter, and how often do we want it out?
Well, that's the thing. I think what we've talked about in the past was that number one, we have a whole series of videos that we could be sending out through our email, and they're all on different topics, and including the series that is called Behind the Projects, which is which tells its own story.
Right.
Basically, you write a preliminary piece to a headline and a preliminary paragraph just to introduce it, and then then you have the link to the video, and they would just receive that and be able to click on it and watch it. Other things would be like, obviously, if we have new projects that we're working on, having descriptions and images of those projects, and certainly I can supply you with the with the detailed information for that. And third is to be able to periodically ask people to donate to the different projects.
Okay.
And then link them to the page that allows them to be able to donate. And as we're going into the holiday season, we can combine some of these things together so that they get a glimpse of the video, and then also get an opportunity in each.
Well, here's my. I mean, since I'm mine print, I do print stuff all the time. But here's my thought on that. I think that if we're going to do it, we don't want to overwhelm them, and we want to be able to have something new every month. We're doing it monthly.
Well, you can choose what the frequency is.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, monthly would be not too often.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not, I don't know how much time I would have to do it weekly. I could not do it weekly,
No, and that wouldn't be, I don't think that'd be appropriate either. I think.
I don't either. People would be bossed, they'd be annoyed.
Yeah. No, I just, and for the things that we're doing, one of the main functions of this is just to keep us top of mind.
Exactly.
Reminded. So, and if once a month, a video comes in, that they're more likely to watch it than if it's showing up every week.
Right. And even if it's a topical explanation of what our projects have been, because people don't know who did these things. But if we sent out I think there's a possibility if we started sending them out, maybe our email list would, I mean, we'll lose some obviously because they'll unsubscribe, but we'll get some too, I think, and or people will send it to someone else. So it might be, I think we want it to be concise.
Yeah.
We don't want a 15-minute video for the first months at least. I mean,
we haven't shot any long videos anyway.
No, I know, but if we had any, we want nice brief things. But I think an explanation and pictures of the different, the different projects and stuff. And if I could figure out the software, I'd be happy to try it.
Okay. Well, that would be great. I mean, think maybe the next step is that why don't we connect and set up a time where you can be on your computer and I can be on mine, and I can show you how the program works.
Okay.
And show you what kind of things that Ashley has already set up in there.
Right. And so what I could have is I would just have a file with all these different things in it and plug them in.
Yes.
Every month.
Yes.
I mean, we're not going to reinvent the wheel here.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I can give you a robust content file. And then
exactly.
You could pick and choose what you think is topical.
Yeah, but every month we'd have 2 or 3 things just to, at the same time, a newsletter type thing with 2 or 3 different points of interest. But I think we should try to get it going, see if we can get some donations in here in December and January.
Okay. Well,
all right. So we'll make an appointment.
Yes. Why don't we say that I'll give you a call at the first of the week, and then we can just find a day that works for.
Yep, I'm around on. Okay.
And then we'll get it, because if we can pull something together to get this off the ground as soon as possible.
Yeah.
For the first send out, then it'll be that much easier to be able to do.
Well, and the other thing is I wouldn't do it the first of the month anytime. I'd pick some time like, the second Wednesday of them or something, so that, because some people send things out on the first of the month, and so they, I mean, I get,
oh yeah,
I have 5 email addresses and the hundreds of things I get a day. It's just overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I agree with you. Doing something about mid-month is it's a better time to be able to send this kind of thing out.
We'll figure out what day. I know there's a better day to post things than other days. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Okay, deal. All right. Well, I'll be in touch on probably on Monday.
Okay, that's fine.
Then we'll just set it up from there.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Paul?
Yep.
I just want to add something. I have gotten some of the material that Mary Ruth has done, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I that's why I was so delighted when you were saying you were interested, because you've done some great stuff for us.
Yeah.
So, just in terms of the postcards and things like that you put together. So yeah, I'm psyched. I think it's great.
Very great. Thank you, Mary Ruth.
All right. Conservation Commission. I'm going to have to probably reach out to maybe 1 or 2 individual members of the commission. I have left several messages at town hall, asking for a call back. Have heard no response at all. I've emailed both people that I know connected with the Conservation Commission, including the chair, and the head of the Conservation Commission. I've heard nothing back. I can't even get a conversation started, I must say, this is the first. I mean, in 21 years, I've reached out to virtually every department throughout the town, and and had respond, just to be able to open the conversation and talk about a project that could be of potential benefit to them also. But it's just not happening. And I was going to ask Amy if you have any insights on how you think I might approach this.
Sure. Can you refresh my memory and just sort of give a quick synopsis as to what the project is and what it is that you're seeking as far as support from the town?
Yeah, basically all it is we've had a donor who has said that along Charles River Street in that area, that there's several things. One is that there's actual garbage and trash in the woods along that area. And the second is that there's what he characterizes as basically dead debris that is clearly visible along that road that is really unsightly, and that he's aware that there's, with the Conservation Commission, that basically, for the most part, they let what dies die and fall where it is, and they try to be able to keep it that. He said, but isn't there some way that any of the things that are really close to the road could just be pushed further back into the woods so that they can do what they need to do, but don't make it look like when storms have come through there and apparently, broken a lot of the trees or killed some of the trees, that it just looks like it's completely uncared for. So all I wanted to do is just go there with a person from the Conservation Commission and just drive along or walk along that area and see if we can see what this other person is seeing. And seeing if there's
is this town-owned property, Paul?
Yeah, because it's the outskirts of Ridge Hill.
Okay.
So it is conservation, at least as far as we know. The area close to the road might actually be just town property and not part of town of Ridge Hill. Because there's a setback of so many feet from the street that is usually owned by the town. But as I said, all I wanted to do was have an exploratory conversation, and I've literally been trying to be able to reach somebody to just call back and have that conversation for almost 4 months.
Wow.
And I started in the summer, and during that time, that the person who was the head of the Conservation Commission was on vacation. I said, okay, that's great. And I said, just send them an email and that they would get back to me. And they came back. After a number of weeks after that, I didn't hear anything. I sent out another email. And basically, this is the way it's been going. And no response has come back. So, and the person, understandably, isn't sitting, as far as I know, they're not sitting in the town hall at the desk for the Conservation Commission. They're probably just picking things up remotely. So I just wanted to basically arrange a date to go out and look and see if we can see what it is, so I can get back to the donor. And he's willing to pay for whatever it costs to be able to do it. And he's and to show that he's really willing to pay to help, he's already donated to the fund monies to do exactly that. If there are things that can be done to just make it look nicer, but also stay in accordance with the guidelines for conservation.
Okay. And I'll follow up with you on this offline to see how we can get you a response. I'm sorry that you've had that frustration. That's not okay.
Yeah, and I don't really understand it, but I have nothing but, I worked with Roy Kramer, who was on the Conservation Commission, and I've had great relationships with the people I've talked to in the past. So either there's there's some kind of communication thing that's falling through the cracks, is my guess, is that maybe where I'm leaving messages or what I'm emailing to is not the right place. So I just want to see if we can connect properly and then just have a good conversation.
Okay, I will follow up with you on this.
Great, well, thank you. Let's see. We have the bench slats, that program. This is the program where instead of putting out an entire bench, that we could potentially do create a celebration bench for the variety of, on some of the benches that the town has put out in the last couple of years that are on the streets and at the front of the town common. Because my understanding is even with the changes that are going on inside the common, the benches that are on the outside, I believe, are staying where they are. And there are also some benches that are on this course on the streets themselves that could potentially have, which are all new within the last few years, that could potentially have a bronze inlaid plaque installed in the bench as a celebration bench. And one of the things that the way this came about was the fact that the celebration benches that we normally do, made out of epay, have more than doubled in price. I mean, the last quote that I got for the same bench that we were doing for about $1,800 to $1,900 installed is now almost $4,500.
Oh my gosh.
So, and we're hoping that this will be a temporary thing. But, we're hoping that in 2022, that the prices will come back down to some type of normalcy as supply chain issues get, fixed. But for the moment, we were looking for other ways, and we have two donors right now who would like to be able to donate for benches. Actually, three. One is in Greens Field, and I'm putting together a proposal for the Park and Rec Committee to be able to place a second bench of the same style. This is not epay, of the same style as was done for the Brenda Stark bench, which is the black powder coated metal with the inlaid plaque. And I've walked with the donor to the location, picked out a spot for it. It's replacing one of the concrete and wooden slat benches, of which there are still three more at Greens Field. And so, we'd basically like to see if we could, complete the set so that they all look equally attractive. And we have a donor who's, even with the increased price of the metal ones, which are not as expensive as the UK ones right now, they didn't go up anywhere near as much. But they're interested in being able to do that one. So that's one project. And then the other two, one is from a family member that was part of Gino's restaurant back when maybe some of us would remember that Gino's was an Italian restaurant right on Chapel Street. And in fact, it was in the spot where Kumon, it was in that, I think it was the left one or the right one, but they were in that spot there on Chapel Street. And that was the first restaurant actually Gabriella and I ever ate in Needham, which was interesting. And it had checkerboard tablecloths and and a bar area with the
A floor that went like this.
Yeah, yeah. Little red seats and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
almost like the diner kind of.
Yeah, we used to take the kids there all the time.
Yeah. So they would like to be able to actually do a bench slat. They would do a bench, but instead that they're basically we're very interested in doing this alternative. And the second one is a person who wanted to be able to do a celebration bench for one of the previous owners of Black Sheep Knitting, who passed away from cancer very suddenly about within this last year. And so there happens to be a bench that is right near Black Sheep Knitting. It's one of the new town benches. And there happens to be a bench that happens to be right near where Geno's on Chapel Street. So I 2 or 3 years, about 2.5 years ago, I had proposed this to Kate as a way of being able to have an option on to be able to do those. And she said, she thought that would be fine. She thought that adapted over. But it's been 2.5 years, and with the changes they're making to the town common, I wanted to make sure that nothing had changed. So I went back to Kate, contacted her, and said, hey, I just want to, make sure that this is still fine with you, and that we can do this. And she said, well, I want to be able to talk to some people about it, and then I'll get back to you. So I'm just waiting for her to be able to call me back, or email me. So our hope is that she still feels, and that others still feel this is a good thing. When it's first installed, that slat will look, more brown than it does gray. But over the course of probably a year and a half or so, grade into the same color essentially as the bench. So it doesn't seem to be a big trade-off, since the slat will remain the bench for. That's basically where we're at with that program, and if we can roll it out with additional slats, it might be really a way to be able to have more of the celebration benches show up actually on the streets. Field, we covered that. In conjunction, what we'll do with this is about the Facebook promos. In conjunction with what we're doing in the newsletter, we would tie in doing promotions with Facebook. And so you and I can talk about that, Mary Ruth, and we'll figure out what the strategy is for that, because we have several videos now that we've made recently, including the ones made by the Needham channel. And that's basically, we'll just figure out what the...
We also might want to, once we get the newsletter up and running, is invite people through Facebook to join us for the newsletter. Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll put together a whole strategy on how we... So I'm psyched. This is good.
Sure.
From Needham to the World, basically the installation update is that we're working right now with the company that's making it, that they're ordering the framework, and I'm working with a couple of different people to be able to get the physical installation taken care of. So, we're moving at the speed of the fact that the first thing is we have to get the materials physically in. And at the same time, we're working to be able to have the carpentry skills that we need to be able to assemble it onto the backer board, and then physically install it on the wall. At the same time, that Speed Pro at Needham has already produced a prototype of what it would look like if we took out and physically stuck on the wall, for the sizing and so on. And the sizing all looks great. The height level of all the viewing level is, at both the height, which is natural for a passerby to walk and read it, for the panel that tells the story box itself, as well as if you were sitting in a wheelchair. So we're trying to be able to get it at the right balance so that it works for both of those, and our test seemed to work very successfully with that. and the size of the graphics and so on all look great. So we would basically just carry on with that. As soon as we get a frame to be able to physically put it into, that we'll set up a date to be able to, to be able to dedicate it. And we have a plaque that was going next to it, which is a permanent plaque, which goes on just to the right of it, which is for the sponsor, which is the Heffernan. So it's, it's in progress, and it's as fast as we can get things physically made is how soon it will go in. So, and we're hoping to do it, if we can get it in by the end of November, that would be fantastic, since we hopefully will keep the weather will be nice enough to be able to do the installation for that. So that's the update on that. And the last was just talking about, which we mentioned earlier, about someone who would take over the research for the profiles. Kate had come up with 2 people already, Catherine Bates and Tiger Ozawa, for the 2 candidates that were chosen. And so we just need to basically follow up with the pull the research that we need for those 2 candidates, and then get them, basically up and running. So,
I think once we kick this off, kick off the notable people, I think people will recommend people to us.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
And I think it's going to take research to get the information, but I think if someone recommends someone, I mean, might give people the option to recommend, but you ask them to say why. What is it? What is it about this person? Not, this is, my father who, was born and raised here, and, but more, why would this person be chosen for this among these people? Sure. And I think we could get some really good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of someone that Carol and I know, not as one of the people would put on there, but as someone who could do some research for us on 1 or 2 people. She's a very good writer.
Well,
I will reach out to her.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, we can have associate.
We could have a backlog. I mean, if we have 100 people, I mean, this.
We have at least 50.
Somebody
names.
writes it, we thank them, we say we're going to use it as soon as we can, and it goes in the rotation. Yeah. That's all.
No, that's right.
But I do think if we get this started and kick it off, I think we'll be inundated. I really do, with people suggesting, don't you remember Robbie Tork, and don't you, and the Fazio brother, and I mean this. We will have a lot of people that want to recommend people, I'm sure.
And the other way to engage the community is when you do post, the first one goes up is, post it on the Facebook page and say thoughts about, any suggestions on who else we should nominate, and just create the buzz. So that's what you're trying to do, is engage. So every time you post something, rather than just getting the likes, you're looking for people to actually respond to it. And then somebody will probably, or one of you could share it to the Needham MA Facebook page that has, upwards of 15,000 people. And you're going to generate more follows to the NCRTF's page. So I think there's a lot of potential to, really throw it out to the community and say, who do you think should be featured?
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, I'm doing everything I can to be able to get this up and installed and kicked off as soon as we can, because I just also think it'd just be a cool thing to have up for the holiday. I mean, to have people walking through the streets, shopping, and picking up stuff, and walk by, Sunita and and say hello. I mean, that's basically the opportunity that we have here. So yeah, that's great. All right, so I know we've got to wrap it up, and I've got to wrap it up. So if anybody have any other final comments?
Next board meeting
Yeah.
will be November 21.
All righty. That's great. All right. Well, then we are officially, I forget how, Amy, what do I do?
You need somebody say, can I have a motion to adjourn? And then somebody will say second, and then all those in favor.
Yeah, what you said, it was perfect.
Okay, I second it.
Second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Great. All right. Unanimous. That's unanimous.
I'll talk to you Monday.
That sounds great. Talk to you Monday. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Amy, and we'll talk soon.
Amy, what time do you have off now?
6:01.
6:01. Thank you.
Perfect.